You have been well trained.
No.
my
You don't
young
have to
friend.
carry a sword to be powerful.
I won't fail you.
Oh, do not.
I'm not afraid.
Please don't try.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Chance Cube. My name is Ben. I will be your commentator today. Unfortunately, I don't know the location of this game or the names of the players, but we'll have an exciting match nonetheless between a Palpatine deck on the left and Qui-Gon Rey on the right. So players drawing up their initial hands. Qui-Gon Rey, interesting deck. It should have a decent matchup against Palpatine with all the shielding that you can get out of it. Palpatine, though, doesn't have a lot of bad matchups in the current meta. So it looks like the Qui-Gon Rey player wins the battlefield roll and selects his own Secluded Beach. A good choice against Palpatine because he's got the range damage, and a lot of his upgrades also use range side. So if you can be fast and claim it, then you can get some free mitigation in there. So Groan, Force Speed on Rey, Groan again, Vibra Knife on Rey. So this is kind of the nut draw for the Qui-Gon Rey deck, where you're getting 2 additional actions from the ambush on Vibra Knife, and he rolls in, gets a discard on the Vibra Knife, +2 melee for Rey, resource on Rey, and the Force Speed special, which he then spends immediately to roll in Qui-Gon. So he's got quite a few unopposed actions here. He's got 4 damage showing, so a pretty strong start. And then he's going to play Close Orders Assault. He's got 3 melee cards showing, or 3 dice showing, which means that he's going to rip 3 cards out of his opponent's hand. Really strong tech card. I've been seeing it a lot in these competitive events, in melee decks that feature a lot of melee sides. And it can really limit what your opponent can do. So here's Lure Power on Palpatine. One of the few decks that I actually see this card in. I thought it was going to bust all sorts of things, but it turns out that Palpatine is one of the only ones who can really use it very well. And here comes 4 unblockable damage thanks to the Vibra Knife. And Palpatine rolls in. Looks like 3 ranged, +1 on the Lure Power, and 2 discard. So Qui-Gon Rey player claims, removing that damage, so the battlefield doing him a lot of work there. But unfortunately, he has to discard his hand thanks to the discard sides showing on Palpatine. He distributes the damage over to Qui-Gon. It's a reasonable choice. You want to spread that damage out as much as you can. And then set up for the next round. So I'm sure the Qui-Gon Rey player there is seeing, he's going to have to discard a lot of his hand, given those dice were left. So he wasn't going to be able to reroll anyway. An early claim made a lot of sense there to save him 5 damage. Okay, Rey goes in first. Not as good a roll as the first one. Resource on the Vibra Knife, resource on Rey, blank, and a Force Speed special. So 2 for 2 on the Force Speed specials, although I guess they're 50-50, so on any small sample size, it's pretty likely that you're going to see them over and over again. It's never fun when you're the opponent, though. So thinking, and taking 2 resources off of the Rey and Vibra Knife die. I think I would have left the Vibra Knife die in the pool and just taken the 1 resource, unless you want to play a 4-cost upgrade. I can't see his hand, so perhaps he's got a 1 with a Force in there. And then Palpatine rolls in, +1 on Lure Power, 2 shields, 2 damage, which gets deflected right back at him. So, ouch. Deflect, the key card in this meta right now. If you expect to see a lot of Palpatine or Poe Rey, Poe Maz, it's a good choice. So focus to the 2 discard side. Again, he's trying to limit the options of our Qui-Gon Rey player, and that's a pretty good move. The deck tends to revolve around just re-rolling a lot and trying to hit the big damage swings. So if you can rip cards out of the opponent's hand, you really limit the amount of damage that they can consistently do. Looks like he's considering. He's got a couple upgrades in hand. He's not quite sure what to play. Puts the Luke Saber on Qui-Gon. Interesting choice. He's not getting the extra action out of Rey, but she's already rolled in, so he's kind of forced to do this if he wants to develop the card. And then, as predicted, he's discarding all his cards, putting the 2 damage from Palpatine on Rey, and then using a Force Speed special. He's trying to hit something big here. Looks like the dice let him down, but he is going to get some shields out of the deal. Looks like the 2 shield side from Luke Saber and the 1 shield from Qui-Gon in addition to a blank, so there's the power of discard right there. I can't reroll. There's a lot of potential damage on those dice. And that's up to something like 6, 8 damage if you get a really good roll and a lot of opportunities to reroll, so a lot of mitigation there. And then the Palpatine player claims the battlefield. Gets him initiative, activates cards like High Ground. I'm not sure how common High Ground is in the meta right now. I know I'm kind of down on it, but some people still like it. It is, just kill a die, even if you can't use the damage dealing ability. But for 1 cost, it feels like there's better options. It's low on the list of cards to roll in. So we get the roll in from Palp. He gets the 4 speed special in addition to some range damage and looks like shields along with the +1 on lure power. Here comes Rey with a +2 4 speed special again. 1 melee on the Vibra Knife and a resource side. 4 speed special from Palpatine this time. Spending 1 to high ground. Yeah, perfect. It's high grounding away the Vibra Knife die. It's a reasonable choice because then he can actually use shields. If there's only 1 Vibra Knife out there, I often find people don't target it when it's showing the one side if they can hit bigger dice, but it's nice to reactivate your ability to use shields. And then Palpatine shoots Rey for 2 and takes 2 shields off of Qui-Gon with the splash damage part of his ability. So we got 4 speed coming right back at him. A big roll here could be a lot of damage in for the Qui-Gon Rey player. And it looks like we've got 2 shields. What is this, a guard? Yeah, removing one of his melee dice to get rid of Palpatine's last remaining die. But the Palpatine player isolates the Qui-Gon die, and now he's not sitting on very much damage at all. So it looks like it's been a pretty stable game back and forth. The Palpatine player is probably slightly ahead here. But he gets hit with a Synchronicity. Great card if you got a shield and a melee side showing. Even if you can't use the melee side, it's 2 damage. That card, when I first saw it, immediately made me want to play Qui-Gon Rey. Unfortunately, I'm a terrible Qui-Gon Rey player, so I haven't been having much success with the deck, but other people seem to have been doing fairly well with it, as evidence here. So if I was the Qui-Gon Rey player, I'd be a little scared about the upcoming Rise Again turn with 2 resources sitting over there, but that's a pretty long ways off if you can keep him having to use his mitigation. So end of round plays, you get a lightsaber out on Rey, some shields out from Qui-Gon's dice, and then we set up for another round. Yep. Thinking about rolling in Palpatine, and does. Alright, so it looks like a pretty low Palpatine roll. Looks like resources, +2 on the lure power, which is good, and then a blank on the 4 speed, unfortunately. But the return roll also features 2 blanks. 1 melee side, a +2 melee side. I believe that's a modified melee from the lightsaber as well, so a lot of damage looks like it's coming in. Here's Overconfidence, a card that I vastly underrated going into the set, but super useful. Unfortunately, it only hits the 4 speed die there, but it does get the Rey die off of melee damage, which is what Palpatine is looking for here, because he's 9 health away from dead. Okay, so Guard comes in. Great card with Rey and Vibra Knife. because you can use the add damage sides to do something for you. Usually save you quite a bit of damage. Alright, so here's a raid discard. And he hit his premonitions. Oh man, you just played a card underneath premonitions, and now it's stuck there for good. That is not a happy camper. I guarantee you that card is Rise Again, which just makes any Palpatine player super sad. So a key discard there. That's good. You gotta, look to your situations and sometimes try to rip those discards, even though they're not damage. Ooh, free stuff. So you get Qui-Gon rolling in. Looks like Disrupt on the Jedi robes. So I can't read the lightsaber one, and then 2 shields. Discard and a reroll. Yep, here's the classic Qui-Gon Rey. You're just going to burn through all those cards and try to get as much damage as possible through here. With Palpatine at 9 remaining hit points, I think you spend your cards fairly heavily unless you have something really important, like a deflect. Otherwise, just go for broke. These are the sorts of situations where you can really put the Palpatine player on his back, especially because you've just discarded his second premonitions, probably stranding one of his Rise Agains. And if he's only running one, then you're looking really strong. So he uses a focus side on Jedi robes to turn Rey to +2 damage. And he's taking a resource from the lightsaber. So it looks like he's going to decline to reroll any more dice. It seems like an interesting choice, but then he's throwing in 6 damage. That's what the deck does. Reroll, reroll, reroll. Hit for big damage swings. And then he's debating here whether to take the shield as mitigation or as additional damage. And he takes it as damage, so Palpatine is on 14, and then a riposte for the win. So I want him to flip over this card right here and see if it's Rise Again under premonitions there. Yeah, so good game to Qui-Gon Rey. Extremely well played. Mitigation timed well. Oh, it's only a Mind Probe, so it wouldn't have saved him. But still could have helped out. So pretty convincing win there for Qui-Gon Rey.